parents kicked me out at 14 for bad grades. I went from homeless to building a six-figure business, but they tried to take credit in front of everyone, so I exposed all their abs. I am 27M. My parents kicked me out of the house because I got bad grades. Yeah, that's right. Though we have been living in the US for 2 generations, my parents have not learned anything from American parents about how to raise a child. My parents have literally screwed my entire childhood, obsessing over my school grades. They think good grades are the only way to make a successful life. To make it worse, my sister, who is a year older to me, is a class topper. So, I was constantly subjected to a comparison in school as well as at home. Situation was better until elementary school. I used to get A's in most of the subjects. My sister graduated elementary school with an A+ and topped the class while I got an A and was nowhere in the list of top 10. That was the beginning of my parents' disappointment. In middle school, after every exam result, my parents would sit with my sister's last year's grade card and would compare it with mine. As this game of comparison started, my grades started dwindling further. With every dip in my scores, my parents' rage soared high. From as in elementary school, my grades went south to B's and C's. My parents lost their minds with my every dip in grades. Except for hitting me, they did all sorts of things to punish me. They made me kneel down for several hours without food and water. They would starve me on the evening before the exam so that I could focus on my studies. A month before the exams, they would rip me off my video games, cage me at home, not allow me to go out to play, and not give me ice creams, chocolates, or any of my favorite foods. Whenever I asked them for anything, their response would be, "Get good grades, then you'll get this." Eventually, I stopped asking them for anything, knowing I wouldn't get it. My parents run a grocery store in the back street. My grandparents were immigrants in this country. Grandfather worked as a daily wage laborer and grandmother as a janitor. They worked 2 jobs each to raise my father and my other 2 uncles. My father had to quit his studies early on to support his family. He has been working since he was 11. A similar story runs in my mother's family too. Mom and dad worked very hard in their teenage years and 20s to save money and start this small grocery store on the corner of the street. They think that getting good grades can only bring them out of poverty. We are not as poor as they portray. Typical Asian thing of saving for a rainy day and starving on the current day. While I appreciate all their hard work and their faith in the education system, they overdid it. School grades barely matter until you don't have to repeat a year. And repeating a year is also not that bad. It just pulls you behind your peers by a year, but that's okay. By torturing a kid at such a tender age, they were setting up for an imminent failure. As a kid, I genuinely used to work hard to match up to my sister's grade, but somehow I couldn't. I struggled with memorizing stuff efficiently like my sister. However, I was good in calculations which didn't require mugging up. But as my parents' punishment got severe, I turned rebellious. I deliberately skipped my classes and loitered in the playground. I would fill my exam papers with stupid jokes and song lyrics to annoy them even more. They grounded me by locking me up in a basement with my books and only released me when I completed my lessons. On weekends and vacations, I was not allowed to play outside. All my video games and comics were seized and new ones were never bought. But I was a smart kid. Whatever they did, I found a way to sneak out. My parents went to the grocery store in the morning and only came at night. So, I used to spend the whole day playing outside. When my parents got to know that I was sneaking out in their absence, they started taking me with them to the store on the weekends and during the summer vacations. It was supposed to be a punishment for me, but it turned out to be something I started enjoying. I loved interacting with people, helping them decide which cereal brand they should buy, and taking care of the billing counter. This didn't go down well with my parents. They didn't want me to run their grocery store. They wanted me to become a doctor or engineer. Anything less than that would mean bringing disgrace to an Asian family. One day I casually said that I wanted to be a salesman because I'm quite good at closing sales. My parents were horrified to hear this because according to them only uneducated people do sales jobs. Since they are spending so much money on my education, I should do a respectful job which was either a doctor or engineer. All this went on until I pushed all their buttons by scoring an F grade in my freshman year at high school. My parents lost their mind that I have to repeat a year. They were done with all their punishment. They blew right on my face as if I had done any heinous crime. There was nothing left to punish me. Except for hitting me, they did everything to apparently bring me on the right track. The verbal abuse and mental trauma reached its peak. They said I brought shame to the house and they cannot take the embarrassment I have inflicted upon the family. They threw me out of the house and said I was on my own and that I should never return home even if I died of hunger and cold. I was devastated. Though I was a notorious kid, I never thought of running away from home. I was not at all prepared for this. My parents didn't let me socialize, so I didn't have many friends to ask them for help. I was either locked up at home or taken to the grocery store for a helping hand. When the initial fear of living in the streets subsided, I felt a sense of freedom. I felt so much relief to be able to do what I wanted. The first night I slept on the bench in an open park. The next day I went downtown searching for a salesman job. I knew I was good at sales. I went from store to store asking if they had any vacancies. After trying my luck at nearly a dozen of stores, I landed a job at a beauty store. It wasn't easy either. I didn't have any qualifications or prior experience, but the store owner needed a staff urgently, so he gave me the task of selling an expensive lipstick as an add-on to a customer who was there just for a night cream. I don't know how, but I was able to do that. The owner thought I was passionate and cute to be able to sell makeup to young women, so he hired me. The pay was low, but he gave me a place to sleep. Later, as the sales increased, I asked for the commission in each of the sales I made. That was the beginning of my journey to become a successful businessman. My parents thought that making me work at their grocery store was a punishment. Little did they know that it was actually helpful for me. It gave me real-life experience. I wish they realized my potential and understood that practical experience is far more valuable than mindlessly swatting academic information. After that, I hopped jobs for better pay. One of my employers even offered to bear my college expenses, but I declined. I had something else in mind. I wanted to start my own venture. At the age of 21, I started my own company which provides support and sales services to other small businesses. My company closes sales for other product-based companies. We generate sales and revenue for them and they pay us hefty commissions. My company has projects from across all verticals of products, from credit cards to insurance, cosmetics to books. We are tied up with all sorts of companies. It didn't blow up in a day or a year. It took more than 5 years to get stable. I started it with 5 people for just one client which sold mattresses and pillows. Now, we are a company of 200 sales agents, helping some 50-plus companies sell thousands of products. Enough of mambo jumbo, coming to the point. My mom has been stalking me over the last few weeks. She has started following me on Facebook and Instagram. I have an open account and she's going inside my profile and liking my old pictures and posts. I don't know if she's deliberately trying to show her presence or if she's doing it by mistake while zooming into my picture. One thing is for sure, they are mesmerized by lifestyle. They thought me to be a loser who would never be able to do anything in life without good grades, but here I'm making 6 figures a month. A week ago, she texted me that she missed me and asked me to come home. I saw her message and left her on scene. She is showering praises on me as to how proud they are to see their son, me, successful in life. She is now pestering me to visit her. The thing is, no matter how much I ignored her messages, I couldn't stop thinking about them and my childhood trauma. I badly want to give it back to them for all the humiliations they have put me into. I want to go home and flash my successful life on their face. But on the other hand, my girlfriend is of the opinion that I should stay away from them and not get trapped in their emotional net. She thinks that they would eventually guilt trip me to extort money from me. What do you guys think I should do? Update 1. Hello all. This is gonna be hilarious. Despite my girlfriend heating me against meeting my parents, the part of me wanting to rub my success on their face, so I showed up at their door. Dad wasn't home but mom and sister were waiting for me. Dad is still ignorant of my success. He thinks I'm making money by dubbing innocent people and doesn't want to be associated with me. Mom apologized to me and said that I had to suffer because of Dad's old school beliefs and scoring good grades for life. It was funny how Mom made Dad the scapegoat while she was also in tandem with Dad in torturing me. I pointed out that she was stricter in punishing me. She